This episode is proudly sponsored by HASA, the trusted choice for liquid chlorine. It's better because it offers the highest purity, works instantly, and contains no added CYA. By the bottom feeder, professional-grade battery-powered swimming pool vacuum system, it sucks to clean pools, so cleaning pools sucks less. Get $100 off the bottom feeder with code DVB100. Skimmer, trusted by over 30,000 pool service professionals across North America. Skimmer software helps you save time, grow revenue, and boost your 5-star reviews. Whether you're just starting out or expanding your team, Skimmer's easy-to-use tools and expert support have you covered. Upgrade your business in 2025 with Skimmer. Try Skimmer for 30 days for free at getskimmer.com/poolguy.
The Pool Guy Podcast Show. The Pool Guy Podcast Show. The Pool Guy Podcast Show.
Hi, welcome to the Pool Guy Podcast Show. In this episode, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about when you have troubles on your route, things that delay you, how to deal with it, some things you can implement to eliminate a lot of these problems on your pool route, and I'll give you some practical steps that I take when I'm dealing with any kind of delays out there or troubles that cause me some frustration out on the pool route. Join my coaching program and take your pool service to the next level. Connect with other pool pros in your area, gain valuable knowledge, and transform your business with personalized one-on-one advice from me. With over 36 years of experience, I'm here to help you succeed like never before. Learn more at poolguycoaching.com. One of the things about the pool industry that makes it unique, exciting, and sometimes causes troubles or problems is that there's no weeks that are exactly alike out there. Yes, there are certain times of the month where things are the best. I really think April here in California, and then also September, usually September, are two of the best months where the weather is pretty similar, not much is happening, but other areas may vary with that. So each day is different. You have the weather to deal with, you have rain, wind, heat. So all those elements will make things very varied out on your pool route. So these variables can be contained and dealt with if you have certain things in place. Here's a few general tips, I think, when you're organizing your pool route to make life easier when a problem develops. Number one is that you should not be overbooked on your day and leave yourself no margin. I've been very guilty of this many times where I'm going to do a pump install and I have it scheduled for maybe 10 a.m. and I still have 8 or 9 pools after that because I figure it's going to be easy. I'll put it in and I'll go over one that really caused me a lot of headache. And this is no fault of mine, but I did a pump install. I picked up the pump. I brought it. Actually, it was a motor install. I'm going to back up a little bit. So I was swapping out a motor at this time, now that I remember correctly. And I got to the stop. I put the motor in and I turned everything on. It didn't turn on. I was like, what's going on here? I checked all electrical and it turns out it was a dud motor, which really slowed me down because I had to schedule it and I wanted to make sure I got this pool working and I wanted to bring it back right away, which was probably not smart on my part. I should have just left it for another day, but I was frustrated, not thinking clearly, so I pulled it off. I was upset and I went back and returned it and I went back to the job to finish it, and for sure the other one that I got worked perfectly fine. Not a very common occurrence, by the way, when you get a dead motor, but it has happened to me at least once now that I remember on my route. I've had other times where, the motors worked for a month or so and then burned out. So there are some defects out there that could cause that problem, but that was a big delay. And I think it's because I got frustrated and wasn't thinking things clearly that I could have saved my day at that point by just cutting and running at that point. And I speak about this often. So the second thing that you can do to avoid a lot of frustration is to set a limit of how long you're going to troubleshoot a certain problem. For example, if you get to a stop and the pool's not priming, give yourself 5 to 8 minutes to get that pool primed up. There are certain tricks that can help you. If you have an attached spa, try priming the pool from the attached spa. Sometimes that's effective. You put it in spa suction and pool return turn on the pump and see if that works. You could try a drain bladder, which is something you put on a garden hose and it inflates, and you can put it inside the skimmer line, turn the hose on, the drain bladder will inflate, blocking out the sides of the to fill up the entire PVC pipe, and then water will go to the pump. And then you can turn the pump on. This takes a little bit of timing, but you can turn the pump on, and once you see that it starts to prime, quickly go over there and turn the hose bib off so that the drain bladder doesn't explode or get destroyed by the pool pump pulling on it, which has happened to me before. So you want to make sure that you don't lose your drain bladder in that fashion. And those are two things you can do to kind of prime it and get it started. So if it doesn't start right away and you're there, you can spend 20, 30, 40 minutes. Time goes pretty fast when you're working on something like this, trying different things to get the pool primed. So one rule that I have is if I can't get something working within 5 to 8 minutes, and it shouldn't take you more than 5 minutes to do the drain bladder or to prime it from the spa, I'll leave a note, I'll turn the system off, and I'll make sure the customer doesn't turn it back on. And then I'll also text them, letting them know that I'll be back later in the week to try to get their pool running. Because another thing you'll notice is that when you're in the moment, and I've talked about this before, the frustration, the kind of weight of, hey, I'm wasting time here, I need to get going to my next stop, is not making you think and look at the problem as clear as you would if you come back on a day when you have plenty of time to analyze and look at it and see what happens. So what I would normally do is I'll take that account that where I have that problem and I'll move it somewhere where I have a light day and put it at the end of that light day so that I can spend some time there trying to figure out what the problem is and why the pool is not priming. And the third thing that you can do to give yourself some margin and make the frustration level drop significantly on your pool route is to have a lot of crossover on your pool route. So if you are in an area more than one time during the week, I would recommend putting pools that are in similar areas on crossover days. What I mean by that is if you're in certain areas of your city, you would want to spread pools out so that if you need to go back or double back to a pool later in the week, it's very easy to do so. I'll use like the Inland Empire, for example. If, let's say you work in Ontario, California, and you also work in Rancho Cucamonga, and you may even have some pools in Chino. They're all pretty close together. If you're in Chino on Monday, you probably want to be back in Chino on Thursday or Friday so that if there's any problems on the Monday, you can address those problems. If there's any problems on a Friday pool, you can address that on Monday. If you're on Rancho Cucamonga on Tuesday, you probably want to be in Rancho Cucamonga on Thursday as well, so you can address any problems you have. And so you kind of see the crossover. It works really well in any city. It's okay if you have pools that are in the very close area on the same day, but if you have pools in another area very close to that, it's good to break them up on another day because then you'll have that built-in crossover. And this is because lots of pool pros don't have a really tight pool route and you're spread out pretty well through the area that you're servicing, and building in crossover is a great way to build an instant margin on your pool route. So with that said, those are kind of tips to have margin, don't overbook, have crossover, and cut and run when you need to. Here are some things that you may run into and some solutions for those things as well. Flat tires. Now this happens, hopefully just one flat, but a flat tire is a real bummer. And if you get a flat tire, which I've had a few of these over the years, really don't spend your time changing that flat tire. I know that you think you can do it and it's quick, but what I'd rather do is have AAA, which I've had for I think 20 years now or more, longer than that. Call AAA right away, have them come by and change that flat tire. You get 3 service calls a year with AAA. That's either a flat or a tow or a battery jump or charge. So make sure that you utilize that service. If you have a built-in service with your vehicle, sometimes I think Ford has a built-in service, utilize that service so that you're not spending your time doing that because you're going to waste time and energy. What I usually do if I get a flat tire in a service account, I'll call AAA, then I'll go back I'll be in the account working on it. I may even clean the filter, I'll clean the salt cell, I'll make sure that I'm utilizing that time. I'll do some paperwork, while I'm waiting for AAA to get there. Usually in my area, they're there within 10 minutes. There's a lot of AAA providers in my area. They'll change the flat tire for you a lot faster than you can do it. I don't really like the jack anyway that comes with these trucks. At least the trucks that I've had, the jacks seem very unstable compared to the weight of the truck, and it's better to have them do it. Same thing with the battery. So what I'll do is I'll use AAA for my battery service as well. So if you go to start your truck, the battery's dead. One thing that I recommend carrying in your truck, and if you go to my website, I have a new tab there, a new website button there at the bottom. It's called Pool Guy Gear. It's at the very bottom of my website, swimmingpoollearning.com. Scroll to the bottom and it says Pool Guy Gear. And this little device is going to save you sometimes from a lot of headache. It's called the NOCO Genius 5 Smart Car Battery Charger. It's basically a jump starter for your vehicle. This works with my truck, so I think it'll work with most batteries or most trucks. I guess if you have a large full-size truck, you might want to get a bigger one. But there's actually a link to the Amazon site where you can buy this device. Keep it charged, keep it in your truck. I have one behind my back seat of my truck. And if you do go to start your truck and you get that little, the battery dead feel, like click, click, nothing happens and nothing comes on, use this thing. So what you do is you attach it to the positive and negative of the battery, you turn it on, and then you just wait until you get the green light, and then you turn the ignition on the truck. This is great because you're going to be by yourself usually when this happens, and it's kind of hard to flag down a customer or someone with regular jumper cables, and you can do this all by yourself. So you connect it to your battery, turn on the ignition, and I can almost guarantee you it'll actually start your vehicle unless the battery is completely dead at that point. Now here's another caveat. Once you do this and start your vehicle, you can no longer turn off your truck until you get a new battery or get home. So what I've done before, I've done this a couple times now, I'll just leave the truck running at the stop, do minimal work until I can get a battery. Now another thing that you can do to really help yourself out there is to have AAA come and change the battery. And what AAA does is they have the battery for your truck on their vehicle. They give you, I think, don't quote me here, but I think it's a 3-year prorated warranty. So if it does happen again, you just call AAA and they'll swap out the battery or give you a new battery within that 3-year period. And even after that, they'll put a new battery in for you on the spot. It takes them maybe 10 minutes to do this. And this is the same as a flat tire. So if you do get to a stop, you turn on your truck and nothing happens, you can try this jump starter that I have on the link there for you. It doesn't work, call AAA. They'll come out and they'll swap out the battery for you there. And the beauty of it is that you have a AAA battery. And so in the future, when that happens again, the same thing, they'll come out and swap the battery. Plus you have the warranty. It doesn't really slow you down. Or you can jump your vehicle with this starter and go to AutoZone and you can get a battery there and put the battery in your truck in the parking lot. However you want to do it. I kind of like having the warranty of the battery and it's the convenience of having them just service it. So that's why I use the AAA service, but you can do one or two things there. And the third problem with the truck that you're going to run into, and this happens quite a bit out there over time, is your starter will go out. So you'll just turn on the car and you hear that kind of click, click. Now, I think I did it wrong there with the battery. The battery, you're going to have a and all the lights are going to flash and flicker, and then you won't be able to start the car. So that's the battery. The starter actually is the click, click. So you go click, click, and it doesn't start. So that's your starter. Now, of course, I have a push button truck, so it would be like pushing the button and it would be nothing, it'd be click, click, I suppose. And then if you have that problem, of course, AAA can tow you and then you can, of course, get that fixed. Or you can, if you're handy and you have someone with you or you can flag someone down. I've done this with a customer. I'm like, hey, can you help me here? Because I think my starter is bad. Can you turn on the ignition when I tell you to? So let them sit in your truck. Hopefully your truck is clean and customer ready. And then you go underneath your truck. I use a pair of large channel locks and you tap the starter. Now you should know where your starter is. So of course, figure out where that's at. Tap the starter with that. You can use a hammer as well. And then have the customer turn the ignition while you're tapping it. And 9 times out of 10, the vehicle will start up. Then you can't turn your vehicle off, just like with the battery, until you get home or get the starter replaced. Something that you can do also that's going to save you a lot of time out there. If your truck is in the shop, you really don't want to put your pools off and take kind of a 3 or 4 days off. It doesn't really work out too well in the summertime. You can actually rent a truck. Over in my area, Enterprise rents standard pickups and full-size trucks. So here I went to my local site here. They have a Toyota Tacoma in stock today for $37 per day or $44 total. Pretty affordable. I've rented F-150s from them. I don't see any F-1, let me see, oh, there is an F-150 here. F-150 is $55 per day. It looks like they have one in stock as well. So renting a truck is a great way to continue your route without being interrupted while your truck is being repaired. I don't really recommend borrowing your spouse's vehicle unless they have a truck themselves. It's better if you just rent a truck and make sure that you don't get interrupted basically, and you can continue your route as if you had your truck. So I'm not overly concerned if my truck breaks down. I know I can rent a truck and continue working just as if I had my truck. It is something to keep in mind. That'll lower your frustration level when you know that you have a game plan or a plan B and that there are truck rentals readily available. Now, if there's no Enterprise rental car near you, U-Haul also rents pickup trucks. You can rent one of those trucks as well and use the U-Haul truck to get around your route. So there's a couple other things that I'll touch on here that will really help you when you run into trouble out there. And that's carry enough spare parts. I did a podcast on spare parts. You want to make sure you have plenty of spare parts with you on your truck so you're not going back to your supplier to pick up a Whisper Flow pumplet O-ring, let's say, or if you have a rainbow chlorinator and the O-ring is worn out and you don't have that on your truck, you can't start the pool up because you can't close the chlorinator lid properly. If you had the O-ring, you would just put it on there and you'd be done. So I do have a spare parts list available. It's a little bit older. There may be some SKU numbers that don't work. I haven't updated it in years, but it's a Pool Corp part number list and it has a lot of the spare parts I carry. If you want a copy of the spare part list, you can email me at david@swimmingpoollearning.com. Again, that's david@swimmingpoollearning.com, and I'll get you the spare part list over. And then last, you want to always carry extra chlorine on your truck. This is hard to do, I know, in the summer, but one easy way to do this, and I mentioned this in the spare parts podcast, is to get a 50-pound bucket of dichlor. It has a shelf life of like 2 to 3 years. You may use it before then, but just put that 50-pound bucket in the back of your truck, and then you'll never have to worry about running out of chlorine. It's safe for all pool surface types. It's pH neutral, and it does have a ton of cyanuric acid in it, but that's okay because you're using it as a spare sanitizer, and it's a great way to kind of offset the problem of having to go get chlorine on your route, stopping at Home Depot or stopping at Leslie's or stopping at your supplier to get some chlorine. You can continue your route and stay out there servicing pools because you have that 50-pound bucket of dichlor on the back of your truck. Bottom line, have plans in place, have ways that you can go back to the pools if you need to, and don't waste time out there, trying to fix something. And don't worry about if your truck breaks down, if you get a flat tire. It's going to happen. It's one of those things that is really unavoidable out there. If you're looking for other podcasts I've recorded, you can find those on my website, swimmingpoollearning.com. And if you're looking at the coaching program that I have, you can also find out information there or at poolguycoaching.com. Thanks for listening to this podcast. Have a great rest of your week, and God bless. This episode is brought to you by HASA, providing products that deliver clean, healthy water for every aspect of everyday life. The bottom feeder battery-powered vacuum system, portable, powerful, and only weighs 12 pounds. And Skimmer. Get Skimmer, America's #1 pool service software. Podcast listeners can try Skimmer for free at getskimmer.com/poolguy.